right, welcome. I'm here with my friend Matheiu as we continue the Share Your Story series here at St. Anne. So welcome, Matheiu.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you for having me.
It's good to be with you. Well, it doesn't take long listening to you to realize that you're not from around these parts originally. Share a little bit about where you're from.
Yeah, I've learned that, the best joke I could crack was I was born in East Texas, actually in far East Texas, actually Paris, France, a few years back. But as the bumper sticker says, I came to Texas as soon as I could, nearly 20 years ago now. So I've been living in North Texas for 20 years.
Gotcha. So, where were you spiritually, let's just say kind of last year, which I think a part of where you're spiritually, as I've gotten to know you more, is shaped somewhat by your French Catholic upbringing. It's been interesting to learn about that. So how would you explain where you were spiritually?
And just to put it simply, I think my faith for many years was a faith based on collective experience. I grew up in a very strong faith family, but my experience came through different collective experience. The main ones that we both talked about a few times is the World Youth Days. Among the first ones that John Paul II sort of initiated, both in Poland in 91, and my very first trip to the United States was when we went to Denver, Colorado in 93. But sort of I grew up in this faith that's based on a collective church, right? So the group, the crowd, the gathering of people. Life just makes it at some point that you're not a teenager all your life. You just grow up and you're going into individual routes. And I really sort of lost this collective dimension, and to that extent, I've expressed it that way. But I think I lost myself and I lost my faith at some point or the other. I wasn't connecting anymore, and I know you and we've talked about this many times, and I sort of got out of. I don't want to say got out of the church, because I kept on having the connection, but I didn't have myself a strong experience anymore.
Yeah. Which is so interesting to learn about that collective experience. It wasn't just a shallow cultural Catholicism. It was a very rich collective experience, as you shared around World Youth Day, and you shared about Easter morning and the Alleluias, and being brought to tears, and how deep and rich it was. But there was a personal dimension that was maybe missing. So fast forward, you were invited to Alpha. Now, I've known Matheiu for many years, as our sons have played competitive basketball, and we've been friends sitting on the sideline of basketball games for years. So, and interacting with St. Anne, you heard the invitations to Alpha. Obviously, I pestered you, invited you warmly to Alpha for a long time. So you came to Alpha this last spring. You would have just wrapped up a month or so ago. So what was that like for you?
It was. I absolutely loved the experience. I first off, because I found that collective sort of group-based experience again. I can't wait. So the story is that we were the first Alpha to finish virtually because of COVID-19, right? So I cannot wait to see my Alpha group face to face again very soon. So the Dina, the Angel, the Terry, the Tanisha, the Mike, the Denise. I can't wait, guys. I'd love to see you very, very, very soon. So that there was this group sort of dynamic for sure. But what I loved was that at some point it forced me, not forced, force is the wrong word, it drove me towards a personal experience, rediscovering some basics, the basics of reading the scriptures, of, praying, or, and I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting it, You were kind when you said you were inviting me, but we had many interactions on this, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I'll do this. But I had limited expectations. Somehow, at some point, it clicked, and I felt some very individual, personal sort of experience that I cherish, and I in my life today is the right thing that could have happened to me. So, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I remember you kind of talked about Alpha gave you a certain framework from which to process and understand a personal faith, and even the notion of a personal relationship with Jesus. That's kind of new. I mean, because your experience being a part of this church, a French Catholic, with these rich experience, the collective experience, that Alpha helped to give you a paradigm, a way of engaging in that personal journey.
I think, I called it a shift at some point, but I think I corrected myself. It's an add-on to my faith. That the foundation of my faith is I need people around me. I need this group. I need this collective. We were talking about sheep and flocks, and so that's what the foundation of my faith is on this, right? But the inner journey is something that I felt started with Alpha.
That's awesome.
And now, we have our group, our virtual group on Saturday morning, which again drives both this collective approach and that individual approach as well.
Yeah. So your journey's continued. I know, obviously, engaging with online mass, virtual mass, and continuing to be a part of the St. Anne community. And you and I, with a group of about eight other men, were in an online men's group on Saturday morning that was one of the groups that was birthed out of this COVID experience. And it's been really beautiful. I've really enjoyed it. We're 3 weeks into it, but you're a part of that, which is really cool.
Beautiful experience, getting to know new people, new friends. We can't see each other yet, but forward to it for sure.
Well, it's been such a joy to be a part of it. Just seeing how God's been moving in your life, and just, to have you, to get to know you in a new and deeper way, and see you grow in your relationship with God and a part of the St. Anne community. So I'm really thankful for that. So a lot of times our interviews here, we kind of wind down at this moment, but there's a little add-on part of I wanted to just add to this interview, because Matheiu, your spiritual journey has also been mirrored by an artistic journey, and actually it is kind of one and the same journey, this spiritual and artistic journey that began about a year ago. Can you share a little bit about this artistic aspect of your spiritual?
People like doing sports, I don't know what, but I like painting and I like drawing. So on April 15th of last year, a very sad day, because if I have a building, a place that anchors my roots in France, is the Paris Cathedral, Notre Dame in Paris. And as you all know, it burned down, or the roof burned down, and it was an absolute catastrophic event. So, I remember I was in a meeting and I was just crying, just looking at this place. So I started an artistic journey, which which drove me. So if it's both historical because I had to find contacts and pictures and drawings, but I wanted to paint or to draw first and then paint the western window of Notre Dame, which is a very unique one because it mixes spiritual and religious drawings and windows, as well as very men and women centric events, right? So it's very unique from the Middle Ages. I started to draw it on a piece of paper first.
Show us, yes.
Here it is. So that's the drawing itself. Here we go. That's approximately 16 inches wide. But that's all you can do with your eyes, your pen, and your hands, right? So
not tracing anything, no reference point
from scratch, and actually, interestingly enough, there is no way you can see it fully because now when we will be allowed to walk in Notre Dame again, the org is in front of it, so it cuts half of it. So it was interesting to find old pictures and stuff like that. But my beloved daughter told me back in November, it took me 6 months to draw the one that you saw. But back in November, she told me that I should try to redraw it with an iPad. That's what I did, and I'm still not down. I have I can show you the color picture of it now. I'm nearly there, but
zoom in more. Keep zooming. A little bit more than that. A little bit more.
I don't think.
Yeah, there you go. The whole thing is the detail's incredible. You did all that freehand on your iPad.
So that's and it's been interesting because this is everybody's gonna find their own space in their daily routine. My space is drawing, and drawing this with listening to good religious music and stuff puts me right there, and I'm nearly done, Kurt. But it's been an amazing journey. The results should be great, but I'm not there yet. So
I told you I've got my wall right there. I want a big color version right up on my wall. I can't wait. I saw all the little details you showed me, and it's just exquisite. So, well, we could speak a lot about that. And as you think about how much time you spent it poured into that, it's so beautiful. I mean, heck, on a base level, I could think of a lot worse things you could be using your time. I mean, what a great, beautiful use of expressing the soul. It's really inspiring. It's inspiring, As we in our small group were talking on Saturday, we were showing how much time we were on our iPhones and digital distraction. And,
this is my distraction. So
yeah, that's a great distraction. So, well, Matheiu, thanks, brother. It's so good to...
my friend, thank you.
And to be able to share your story with others. I mean, it's really as a whole collective. I mean, it is beautiful. The church, we don't just have a personal, individualistic me and Jesus faith. We are part of the church, the family of God. And so we're trying to tell stories of what God's doing. And it's just a blessing to hear your story and to be able to share that with our broader community. So
thanks for the opportunity. Yeah. And again, I was for many months on the fence with Alpha for personal reasons, for plenty of, you can always find the good reasons, right? But it surprised me. It really surprised me. I found friends. We were texting each other again recently, and anybody who has doubts or who still is on the fence, I would just say, first of all, you don't risk anything. You can just go for it. And, but I really loved it. And our experiences on Saturdays now is great. Of course, COVID is stopping us preventing us from seeing each other at this point in time. But I'm sure we'll keep on going face to face. And that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So, all right, brother. God bless.
God bless. Thank you, my friend.